Hello, and thank you for joining us for our rental assistance and repayment plans workshop. We're going to go ahead and get started. Um, and my name is Connie Dertrosian, and I'm with HomeOwnership OC. HomeOwnership OC is a nonprofit HUD-approved housing counseling agency. We have HUD-certified housing counselors that can assist you with your rental issues. And our mission is to promote and preserve the dream of homeownership, and we do that through outreach, education, counseling, and financing. We've done over 75 housing events and workshops and educated over 17,000 individuals on homeownership, credit, foreclosure prevention, avoiding real estate scams, and of course, rental issues. And we do partner with the Fair Housing Foundation on various rental and fair housing grants and partnerships. The Fair Housing Foundation is also a HUD-approved housing counseling agency. They were founded in 1964, and they are a private, nonprofit, nonpartisan educational agency. And their mission is to eliminate discrimination in housing and promote access to housing choices for everyone. They do provide fair housing services, landlord-tenant counseling, rental counseling, and assist over 7,000 clients a year. So they help us when we have really complicated rental issues and or fair housing issues, and we send clients over to them because they're our partners and experts in that area. As I said, my name's Connie Dertrosian. I'm with HomeOwnership OC. I'm the executive director and a HUD certified housing counselor. So I should be able to answer all of your questions today. And if not, I can certainly get back to you with those answers. So the types of services that we provide, of course, we provide rental and fair housing counseling. We also help with credit and budget counseling. We can help you with homeownership if you're interested in buying a home. We do provide the home buyer education course that's required for first-time buyer programs and down payment assistance programs. So you can check out our website under the events page, sign up for our home buyer education class if you're interested in buying a home and learning about that process and earning that certificate that will qualify you for down payment programs and first-time buyer programs. We also provide foreclosure prevention, loan modification counseling, and all of our services are provided to you at no cost. So today we're going to be talking about rental issues, and if you are having trouble making your payments, I know due to COVID-19 there was a lot of issues with people making their rental payments. There were eviction moratoriums, which have pretty much all expired by now. But some people are still receiving assistance, so there is some rental help available. We'll talk about that. But even if the eviction moratorium had applied to you, rental payments are still due on the usual date. If you can pay your rent, you should continue to do so you avoid the potential possibility of eviction. If you have had a decrease in your income or a change in your circumstances that's going to make it difficult for you to pay your rent, you should talk to your landlord as soon as possible. Let them know that you're having difficulty and try to work out a solution. You could always contact us for one-on-one counseling for your specific situation, and we can help advise you. Now, if you are live in a federally subsidized housing unit and your income has fallen, you can contact the housing authority and talk to them about income recertification. If you rent from a private company and or landlord, a payment agreement may help you to avoid eviction, now that the moratorium is over. So it's best to try to work something out with your landlord. Usually if they understand that your income has decreased, they'll be willing to work with you maybe on a repayment plan. So it's best to try to work something out with your landlord if you are having trouble making ends meet. And again, you can always contact us for help with mediation and working things out with your landlord. So some of the challenges for renters, our landlords may not know about available rental relief programs, or there's some rental assistance programs. There's also forbearance programs for them. If they're not getting their rental payments, they can ask for help with their mortgage payments or forbearance of their mortgage payments till their tenants get caught up. So there are a lot of local programs to help with rental payments. And, they may not know about them or how to apply. You can always contact us to help find out where exactly those rental assistance programs are. Check your local city, county, state for programs. Here in California, we do have the Housing is Key website that lists all the rental assistance programs, how to apply for them. They also have some utility assistance and other food and all other kinds of assistance and resources on that website. It may be difficult for landlords to determine if they have a federally backed mortgage. If they're not clear, they don't know, and they need help with working with their lender, they can also contact us as well, because we do help with foreclosure prevention and getting loan workouts. Of course, many people, it's an unprecedented health crisis, and many people were affected. So the best thing to do is outreach for help. As soon as you know you're going to have a problem, try to start working on those solutions. So as we prepare for the aftermath, it's really important for you to develop realistic action plans that are based off of resources and programs. A lot of times what the counselor will do is help you with creating an emergency budget to be used at the time when your income is decreased, and then work up to, okay, what's our action plan going forward to get you back on track? If you can, apply for additional programs, unemployment programs, extra gig work, side work, or a second job to help meet your budget shortfalls. Consider there may be some areas where you may be able to reduce expenses or increase income in order to make that budget sustainable. And of course, apply for assistance programs through city, county, and state programs. Lots of funding was available, and so it's really important for you to outreach for assistance and look for rental assistance that may be out there. But just know that even if you are not able to access that rental assistance, you will have to work out a repayment plan with your landlord to help try to catch up on those back payments. You are still responsible for that back rent. So I have a list here of rental assistance programs that are located here in California, in the Orange County area where we're located. But you can go to the State of California Housing is Key website to find your local program. You can just Google Housing is Key, State of California. That website will come up, and it will provide you a list of how to apply for rental assistance in your particular area. Also has a lot of good resources for utilities, food, other types of social services that may be a benefit to you. The CFPB also has a rental assistance finder on their website, so you can go to the CFPB rental assistance. The link will come up. Click on that, and they'll help you find your local program as well. So State of California Housing is Key, as well as CFPB rental assistance finder. Again, you can contact us if you need help finding these resources. So what's the difference between the 2020 COVID-19 crisis versus the mortgage crisis of 2008? Well, in 2008, it was mostly subprime and predatory mortgages. There was a loss of income due to many life events. And that mortgage crisis mostly affected homeowners with bad loans. In addition, lenders were very slow to respond, and there was bailout for investors. They finally did, after a while, come up with some mortgage assistance programs through HAMP and HARP to help people, but it was very slow going. And in the beginning, they really didn't know what to do. So it was a little bit difficult. Now, when COVID hit, it was really a global health crisis. There was dramatic loss of income due to closures of non-essential businesses, and it essentially affected everybody, renters, homeowners alike, landlords as well. What they did do is they put a moratorium on evictions and foreclosures to stop things quickly, and they offered homeowners and landlords forbearance options so that they could work out, repayment plans with their tenants and also get back on track with their own income. They also rolled out rental assistance programs fairly quickly and got some money out there to help tenants who were behind on their mortgage get caught up on those rental programs with that rental program money. So there were quite a few eviction moratoriums, and there were here in the state of California, they rolled out Executive Order N3720, which provided an eviction moratorium as well as assistance for tenants who were unable to pay their rent. So the people who would qualify for that would be tenants whose rent was previously current. You would notify your landlord in writing that you're unable to pay rent due to COVID-19 prior to the rent being due or no later than 7 days from the rental due date, and provide them a reason why you couldn't pay, such as there was a substantial decrease in income, loss of wages, you're sick or caring for someone who is sick, compliance with the stay-at-home order, out-of-pocket medical expenses, child care needs due to school closures, etc. And so you did have to provide documentation showing that you did have a hardship, which would include termination notices, payrolls, checks, pay stubs, bank statements, medical bills, or a signed statement from your employer. And, they wouldn't be able to evict you. Now, that eviction moratorium ended here in the state of California at the end of September, and there was a lot of rental assistance that was available for folks to help try to catch them up on their payments. So you may be still in the process of making those payments, but just know that the eviction moratorium is basically expired. So you can be evicted for non-payment of your rent. Now, if you're making a viable effort to pay them, or you've applied for rental assistance and it just hasn't come through, then, your landlord should be working with you and should not be evicting you because payment is on the way. So if you need help with that, again, you can contact us and we can have our counselors work with you to help work out a solution with your landlord. Now, all of us are protected under federal fair housing laws. The Federal Fair Housing Act covers race, religion, sex, gender, disability, familial status, national origin. In the state of California, we have more expensive, and I'll talk about those in just a second. But the Federal Fair Housing Act basically covers all housing, rental housing, nursing homes, permanent shelters, when you're purchasing or selling housing, insuring or appraising housing, lending for housing, and places where people live and receive services. Basically, all of those are covered under the Fair Housing Act, the Federal Fair Housing Act. And under the state of California, we have additional protections such as ancestry, gender identity and expression, sexual orientation, source of income, marital status, arbitrary reasons, genetic information, age, citizenship, immigration, primary language, military veteran status, and the Ralph Act. So state of California has more protections, covers more protected classes. Some of the common prohibited practices under the law include refusing to sell, rent, or lease housing, represent that the house is unavailable for inspection, sale, or rental when it really is available, providing different terms, conditions, canceling or terminating the sale or rental of agreement due to someone's protected class, or refusing to provide reasonable accommodations or allow reasonable modifications if the individual is disabled. It's also illegal to threaten, intimidate, harass, coercion, or make unlawful inquiries. Now, some examples of discrimination may be it can be discriminatory if they're running a discriminatory rental or sale ad. For example, the describing the property is near a Jewish temple or a Catholic church, or saying it's perfect for adults, it's an adult community. That can infer that no children are allowed, right? Or that they only want Catholic people who go to that Catholic church. Um, some additional examples of discrimination may be blockbusting, which is inducing people into selling or renting their homes by telling them that members of a protected class are going to move into the neighborhood. It's also illegal to create and enforce zoning laws that have a discriminatory effect or intimidate someone so he or she will not file a housing discrimination complaint. So we are all protected by federal and state fair housing laws. And if you have questions about your fair housing protections or your rights, contact us, or we can put you in contact with the Fair Housing Foundation, who's the experts in the area, and they can help guide you, and also submit a complaint if you feel you've been discriminated. So with COVID-19 and fair housing, it does protect those infected or perceived to be infected with COVID-19, or if you're from one of the countries or perceived to be from a country most affected by COVID-19. It is illegal to deny housing, apply different rules or terms, issue notices of termination of tenancy, attempt to threaten eviction, or harass tenants. In addition, it's illegal to, sexually get harassed by your landlord or anyone who is a maintenance worker, anybody who may work for the property management company or apartment complex. It's illegal to make unwelcome sexual advances, threaten eviction for non-payment of rent with demands for sexual favors, or refuse to make repairs for denying sexual favors. That would be illegal. And individuals with disabilities are protected, and being infected, perceived to be infected, or caring for someone with COVID-19 does grant you protection under the disability protections of the Federal Fair Housing Act. But again, it's illegal to deny housing, have different rules or terms, issue notices of termination of tenancy, or refusing to provide reasonable accommodations or modifications. Perceived individuals can include essential workers, including first responders, nurses, doctors, etc. Families with children are also protected under the federal and state fair housing laws, and it's prohibited to refuse to rent to families with children, evict families once a child joins the family, such as birth, adoption, create house rules that they must apply to everyone equally and enforce consistently to all tenants. A lot of times people make their rules overly restrictive to children, which can violate the fair housing laws. If it is specific to children, it should be based on the health and safety and must address health and safety issue. You can't impose overly restrictive rules about children's use of common areas such as pools, hallways, open spaces, etc. And you can't advertise a preference that prohibits children. Like I said, that adults only would be, that would be saying children are not allowed here, essentially. So some example of illegal rules would be children in common areas must always be supervised, adults only in the laundry room, charging additional fees for children, or additional security deposits or higher rents. Some examples of illegal actions could include scolding your kids for playing outside, confiscating toys, bikes, skateboards, etc., making discouraging statements like this building isn't kid-friendly, there's no place to play here, or evicting somebody because their baby cries at night. Those would all be violations of fair housing laws. Now, fair housing as it relates to race and national origin. So individuals who are infected or perceived to be infected, or from one of the countries or perceived to be from a country most affected by COVID-19 are protected under the race and national origin protections. And again, it's illegal to treat them differently. And we have seen an increase in discrimination complaints from Asian Americans since the onset of COVID-19. So again, if you have questions about that or feel like something's not right, you can always contact us and we'll be happy to guide you in the right direction. In regards to habitability issues, tenants in rental properties have the right to dwellings that are safe and sanitary. California Civil Code requires landlords to comply with the warranty of habitability. They do have a legal obligation to provide and maintain basic features in all rental housing in California. So again, if you have questions about habitability, give us a call. We can certainly answer your questions. They do have to keep the property in good condition, basic structural elements of the building, floors, stairs, walls, etc. Common areas also have to be safe and clean condition. You have to keep electrical, plumbing, heating, AC, all of that operating safely. Supply hot and cold water, provide trash receptacles and arrange for trash pickup, and manage any known environmental toxins like lead paint, dust, asbestos, so they don't pose a danger to their tenants, as well as exterminate infestations of rodents or other vermin, including bed bugs. So a lot of times questions come up with bed bugs. The landlords like to blame the tenant for that, and so want to make them pay for bed bug treatment. Landlords who try to pass the cost of bed bug treatment onto tenants are violating their legal obligation to maintain the property. If they say they can't afford it, or it's the tenant's fault, they can still be responsible for paying for the cost of cleaning it. Tenants are usually reluctant to report the problems to landlords, making the problems worse. But HUD has issued some guidelines that prohibit the landlord from charging tenants in subsidized housing for the cost of bed bug treatments. Some code enforcement officers are also not going to properties due to bed bug infestation. But it is the landlord's obligation to provide and maintain residential rental premises in a habitable condition, and that would include bed bug treatment as well. Again, if you have questions about it, feel free to give us a call. Repair remedies, so you can request repairs, write a detailed letter to the landlord describing the needed repair, keep a copy of the letter for your records. If they don't take care of it, you can utilize the repair and deduct remedy, which can be used twice a year as long as it doesn't exceed more than 1 month's rent, and should be used on a repair that has a direct impact on the tenant's health and safety. And if that doesn't work, then you can withhold rent, but you should definitely use this with caution and get help from a housing counselor. You want to make sure that you've informed the landlord of the needed repair, you've documented the problem, and that asked them to do the repairs and they have not responded. And that you didn't cause the problem through carelessness or neglect. Be reasonable with the amount of rent relative to the problem, and you have the money saved as well. All right, so if you need individual counseling, you have additional rental questions or additional fair housing questions, feel free to give us a call or go to our website at HomeOwnershipOC.org. Speak to one of our HUD certified counselors. We can explain your laws, the protections under the laws. We can also help you with mediating a solution between you and your landlord. All right, so if you do have any questions, feel free to send them to me in the chat box, or feel free to contact us. As I said, you can go to our website at homeownershipoc.org. We do have an online intake form. You can complete the online intake form, send it back to us, and we'll be happy to contact you for a one-on-one counseling appointment. Or you can give us a call at 714-204-2314 or email us at counselor@homeownershipoc.org. All right. So if you don't have any additional questions, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Again, I thank you for your participation today. You've been a great audience, and I encourage you to check out our website at homeownershipoc.org. Contact us if you do need help, one-on-one help. We're happy to provide that to you. And we look forward to providing you with additional assistance. All right. Thank you so much.